Welcome to the Top Tier Pack, the new podcast, Forged in Rugged Individualism. This will be all about the human spirit, how we learn, what motivates us, how some of the top people in the country have succeeded, tricks and techniques that they've used to do it. It's going to be really focused on the human condition and lots of examples of success stories. It's also going to include the top tier canine elements of taking a dog and making it the best it can be. So it's going to be a combination of humans and dogs and their ability to adapt, right? And it's all based on what's called adaptive reliability. So the whole show, week after week, month after month, year after year, is going to be to provide value to you so that you can spend more time being successful and less time worrying about things, how to bring the best out of yourself and how to bring the best out of other people with interviews of folks who have made it and their struggles they still have, right? It's never over. We never stop adapting to our environment and adapting to new challenges that life throws at us. So it never ends, but becoming reliable in how you handle those things you need to adapt to. That's what adaptive reliability is all about. So it's at the Top Tier Pack is the website. You can join it. It's toptierpack.com. It's interlaced with Top Tier Canine and Top Tier People. Now, both of those websites have a ability for you to sign up for the AI system that's going to help you succeed. So at Top Tier Canine, where it's got an entire AI assistant, which you can ask it any question you want related to your dog, to its behaviors, to its health, to how to turn it into a protection dog, how to turn it into a scent detection dog. It's all there. And it's just how you manage your questions and manage your history, giving the system the information about yourself and your dog, and building a communication process with the system. So it's under the home screen and it's called Top Tier Canine AI System. And so what you'll see here is I've used up my questioning abilities within the AI. Let me scroll it down a little bit so you can see it. Actually, no, I haven't. I've reset it. So I can ask the Top Tier AI, Top Tier Canine AI, any question I want. And I throw a couple options for you up there, like what is adaptive reliability? It'll tell you. How do I become a certified dog trainer? It's there. And another, I just need help with my dog. So you can type any question in the chat box about your dog. So my dog pulls me down the sidewalk. Here, let me turn my cat blocks off. My dog pulls me down the sidewalk. Enter. It's going to come back and put together an entire, take a breath. Let me bring it back up there. I won't read all this to you. You can go to the site for free, type that same question in, and get this absolute educational response to your questions from the Top Tier Canine AI system. But I'm going to scroll up. It says, first, take a deep breath and lower your own stress. I want you to think hard about that. Dogs respond to their owners. When an owner is upset, it's called the cortisol trap in humans and dogs. When you get upset at a dog, your pressure rises, creates conflict. Can't get the dog to pull me down the road. I'm worried about what the neighbors think. I'm worried about how I look. I really want my dog to mind me. Well, the first thing that happens is you pump up, man. Your blood pressure goes up, your anger goes up, your frustration goes up. And that energy, and we call it the cortisol trap, and we'll talk about that, goes right down the leash to the dog. So the more upset you get, the harder it is to manage your dog because he's upset. His innate desire is to please you. It's what he wants. That's what makes a domesticated dog, right? They all come from the wolf. The wolf wants nothing to do with a human being. A domesticated dog, or at least 99% of them, want nothing more than to be part of you as a pack. They want to please their owner. They don't, they just want to make you happy. And they sense you're not happy, and that sends them into a loop and creates a cortisol trap in them. So then you got just two crazy animals fighting each other, getting upset at each other. And so the Top Tier Canine AI assistant, that's what it's called. We're going to talk a lot about AI, how AI is developed, robotics. I mean, we're going to get into a lot of different things throughout the weeks and months and years of the podcast. But it's geared towards managing yourself first, then understanding your dog and how to properly manage that cortisol loop, the freaked out, calm, freaked out, calm. New challenges outside create stress in the dog, which raises their cortisol, which makes them have a fight or flight switch if they're very poorly trained or very poorly exposed or socialized to environments. And it's really about, the whole system is about managing that cortisol trap from the human and the dog, and then properly training your dog so it responds to you in a way that makes you happy, which is what the dog wants, and it's what you want. So the AI system is really powerful. My students in my school, I train about 40 new dog trainers, mostly around the country, but also around the world, that how to train dogs for other people. So they use the system when they're taking the school to learn to become a professional dog trainer, and they use the system then to manage their clients and to help communicate with their dogs if they run into problems. So the AI assistant is like a dog trainer as a virtual partner, available on your smartphone, available on the website, but that is at toptiercanine.com, and it's a total AI support system that is all part of the Top Tier Canine or Top Tier Pack podcast, right? Because we're including humans and dogs in this whole program. So check it out, see what you think about it. It's free. You get 5 questions for free, and if you want to sign up for the subscription and have the Top Tier Canine AI Assistant as part of your daily access point, you can do that. It's a very small monthly subscription fee to help cover the costs of what's called tokens, which is when you ask AI a question and AI responds, every 4 characters is a token. So the word THE with a space behind it is a single token. And AI systems are like mine. I have what's called a RAG. We'll get into what that is, but I developed this overlay of an AI system with the Top Tier Canine AI assistant and the Top Tier People AI assistant. And so I'm charged per token, and the monthly subscription fee is simply really to cover the cost of the usage of the tokens. I want to make this available to everybody and their dogs. The initial one that you get into is specifically for pets, but I have an entire secondary system that you can get that includes the pets, but then also includes working dogs. I don't care if you're a cop out there and your dog just false indicated, which happens often, in the field, and you want to know why, you can go into the working dog side of the Top Tier Canine AI system and get instant feedback on why your dog may or may not be false indicating, and more importantly, how to fix it so that you don't continue to make the same mistakes. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to call up headquarters and then find a dog trainer who comes down and looks at your dog and figures it out. Top Tier Canine AI, the working dog side, is already built to handle that, from military canine, police canine, service dogs, protection dogs, hell, even sport dogs. I'm not a big sport guy. I've never seen value to me for the sports side of it. I respect it very much because there's a lot of value for a dog owner who really wants to spend quality time with their dogs and work them through scenarios and really expose that dog to different environments. Is fantastic. But I've cut my life and made everything that I do in the dog world a way to train dog trainers to train other dogs for other people, so that all the training and all the work has to go from the trainer to the owner. So then the owner has a adaptable dog that's reliable in any environment. So always understand when you talk about Top Tier Canine, our focus is to train dog trainers who then train other dogs and that dog's owner in adaptive reliability so the owner can maintain that dog moving forward. So the sports side of it would be great for some of the owners, right, that our trainers have trained to get out there and do things with their dogs, but it's not something I work on or do. And I don't say, well, I do real life and they do sport. No, I do adaptive reliability for the human and adaptive reliability for the owner. And I teach other dog trainers and successful business people how to do that same thing so they can actually have a profitable business moving forward. But this AI pet system is free for 5 questions. It's at toptiercanine.com, and it's there. And it's about adaptive reliability in the dog and the owner. Now, the term adaptive reliability is a trademark that I filed. It really is about human conditioning in high-stress situations, dog conditioning for high-stress situations. And understand, for a dog, if it's not been properly trained and exposed, socialized, an elevator is a traumatic experience. A mall is a traumatic experience. A shopping cart is a traumatic experience, and it can raise, just that simply can raise the dog's pressure that creates conflict then in a dog's brain. And if it's too fast, too hard, with no experience, sends that dog into fight-flight mode, right? And that's the cortisol that's running in a dog's brain. But the reliability aspect and a dog's ability to adapt and become reliable is very important for pets, for working dogs, whether that's a police canine, a service dog, a protection dog. The dogs need it. So this is a system where you can cut to the chase, get right in there and figure out how to fix your dog's problems without worrying about the system recommending narcotics, trazodone, other different types of mind-altering drugs that the world of veterinarians and all the other AI systems in the world, that's what they recommend to you. Whereas the Top Tier Canine 3.0 AI assistant is a traditional, solid, balanced approach to dog training, meaning rewards and corrections in a way that helps the dog manage its cortisol. So you don't abuse the dog, you don't compulse the dog. You actually use proper training processes and protocols, which are all ingrained in adaptive reliability, to help that dog be the best dog it can be with the least amount of corrections necessary to make the dog happy and to make you happy with your dog. And it is the only dog trainer system in the world that is based on that process. Every other AI system is purely positive only, and purely positive will never create a reliable dog. And when I say never, 99% of the time. There's 1 in 100 dogs out there that just, you can treat, you can reward, you can start removing the treats. The dog just wants, again, to please you, has no problem, handling that elevator, that escalator. You lure them up and down. You never need a correction. It's rare. It's very rare. But the Top Tier Canine AI assistant will help you get there with purely positive if that's all your dog needs. It only moves into the approach of corrections when the dog can no longer be in a position that it can manage its own load. Load is pressure that builds up in the dog that creates conflict in his brain, and then he has to make a decision. And if his decision is to bite the mailman or chase the car or dig in the yard or fence fight with another dog, then purely positive isn't going to get him any further than that. You have to start applying a balanced approach to dog training. Now, my adaptive reliability system was developed because we uncovered through deep research that about 70% of people out there in the dog training world that call themselves balanced are actually compulsive trainers, right? They use the marketing of balanced, but they go straight to compulsion. Slap that e-collar on them right away, slap that pinch collar on them right away. It's not adaptive and it doesn't create the reliability, it makes the dog fear corrections, right? So the dog learns to respond out of fear, and then the trainers can spend a little bit of time making the dog happy with that, but the results are not great. They're consistent, right? The dog obeys and is afraid to do otherwise. But what we want to do is build dogs that make the decision to do the right thing and that they learn how to learn, right? And that allows them to adapt to future environments without shutting down their core desire to do anything. And so that's what adaptive reliability is. So it's in the Top Tier Canine 3.0, toptiercanine.com, 3.0. I've actually begun to release 3.1, but it is a AI system that overlays a large language model and doesn't allow that large language model, which would be things like OpenAI, Gemini, Grok, or XAI. It doesn't allow their opinions or decisions to affect the output. I manage that through the RAG, and it's an augmented system that I developed and programmed that overlays an AI large language model, but limits what your question that you ask is how it's managed. It limits how it's managed. It doesn't just go out there to, purelypositive.com and give you purely positive answers like the other AI systems do. It uses all of Top Tier Canine's core curriculum, all the lesson plans, all the objectives, every video ever created, all the classes, all the tests, all the training that we've done with over 1,000 pets and working dogs ourselves. So all of our experiences are within the Top Tier Canine 3.0 model. And that's why it is the only AI system that does the adaptive reliability process for you, for your dog, or for you as a dog trainer, for the dog you're training and the owner you're training. So it helps all the way around. So the whole, every podcast I'll probably jump in with frequently asked questions because I get a lot of them. Where I'll pull up, somebody said, well, my dog's, jumping on grandma and scratching her face, how do I fix it? And then we'll just go in and talk about why a dog would ever jump on grandma and scratch her face. I'll tell you why they do it, probably what's happening. And then I'll tell you some stories about, how I've approached it and fixed it in the past. But then I'll also show you how the AI assistant of Top Tier Canine answers it the same way and then actually teaches you how to fix that problem if that's your dog, or advise your cousin who doesn't seem to care about their dog, but cares more about the dog than grandma and doesn't want to fix the dog's behavior. You can help them fix the behavior. So look for the podcast to include some really cool dog-related stuff, both in the pet world and the working dog world. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to that part of it, bringing this whole thing together in a way that you can understand it and apply it to your own world. Now, the second area that we'll be using within the podcast is Top Tier People. Now, Top Tier People is really cool. Okay, so besides the adaptive reliability element that I just explained that Top Tier Canine 3.0 does with dogs, I've added many things of my past and my work in the survival world, in special operations, as a teacher, opening up a school, training dog trainers, training interns, training instructors, both in the private sector and the public sector or the government side. I've added many elements to my RAG that overlays an LLM that includes things like the King James Bible, the Federalist Papers, the U.S. Constitution, everything about Dr. Benjamin Bloom and Dr. Abraham Maslow, which I'll be covering extensively throughout the different podcasts, and philosophies of rugged individualism, where you can't rely on somebody else for your survival and security needs, and then properly belong, right? Because he who giveth can taketh away. So if you're relying on a third party, the government, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, whatever it is, if you're relying on them for your core survival and security, as soon as you have a problem in your relationship, that survival and security goes away and you're a mess. And I know every one of us has felt that sometime in our life. So top tier people, and it's also top tier humans, but top tier people gives you a life coach to where you can ask it anything. And I mean anything. You're in a bad mood today, your husband upset you, you're having certain feelings about that. You go into top tier people and say, hey, this just happened. What should I do? And top tier people will give you a biblically based, but very applicable to today's society solution to that. I don't care if it's finances. I don't care if it's your love life. I don't care if it's your health. Whatever it is that is causing you to have an issue dealing with the reality of life or whatever you're running into, it's going to help you through that. Right? It's adaptive reliability in human training. And my years as a survival instructor, and I'll be telling lots of stories about that in war, my son being in war, my experiences in teaching, tens of thousands of human beings on things like survival, evasion, resistance, escape, dog training, project management, program management, business analysis, Six Sigma, right? I taught in 11 different universities. I've taught for Motorola. I've taught for NASA. I've taught for Knowles Atomic Power Lab. I've taught for, oh my gosh, the list of vertical markets that I have worked in, either as a project manager, a software development company that wrote code, for different vertical markets, and then teaching them has been an amazing experience. So we're going to have the top tier people system, the top tier canine system up at different times during the podcast. And then the podcast is also going to include interviews with folks that have been successful in life, whether it's our franchise system and some great young people who are out there just absolutely slaying it in the business world, training dogs, to artists who create amazing motivational pieces for us that, when you look at something of great art, of great beauty, and you get an internal happiness from that and a catharsis that kicks in. We're going to talk about how, that does affect us and how that does affect us in good and bad that we see out there. But we're going to have mayors, sheriffs, police captains, military folks, just small business folks who have kicked it off and done it right. But we're going to have them in interview processes throughout the podcast as well. So I just wanted to come up here today and just say thanks for looking. Please follow what I'm doing right now. I'm just starting the podcast, but I've got a whole bunch of experience in radio and being on different television shows and working, in public relations and public communications and teaching. I think you're going to enjoy it, and I'm going to be me. I'm going to, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm just me, man. I'm going to smoke cigarettes sometimes. I'm going to drink a shot of whiskey sometimes. I'm going to sit here and tell you some life lessons, some life stories, and I'm going to take this podcast to put together over time for you to understand, hopefully, how to possibly learn from my mistakes, how to take some of the things I've learned, both with humans and human experiences and dogs, especially dogs, to your next level, right? Maybe you can gain some lessons from this in life and in being better and being all you can be, and take yourself to the next level. So you're going to see changes to the cameras, changes to me looking at the camera when I'm talking. I've just got everything set up. Audio, I got to even check to see if the audio worked. But I've spent a lot of time and effort and energy putting this stuff together. Also, we're going to have a lot about AI, a lot. We're going to have quite a bit of information on robotics, which I spent a lot of time with. But I'm going to share a lot of cool things with you, and I hope you follow the podcast and let me know what you want. Send me an email. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about or address. And this will be growing. It's just starting, but it will grow. And we'll have a great time together. So I look forward to seeing you all again, and I wish you all a fantastic day.